And that is something that just absolutely drives me nuts, is when an agent sleeps till noon. Well, I had to wake up at 8 every day with my old boss. I'm like, but now you're your boss. If you go down the street and Walgreens is closed, you will go to CVS.
Big it up, big it up.
Welcome to Let's Talk Real with Mel. We are at Amelia Island. We just finished award ceremony. We got my man Nick here from Chicago. He's gonna tell a story about multiple offices, top producer, top team lead. But we're here at the sun just set, so we're coming to you right away. Nick, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. Well, again, thank you for having me on the podcast. I'm super excited about this. So I've been in business in real estate for almost 25 years. Failed at least 10 of them. Most of them the first decade just did not do well in the business, almost dropped out several times. So if you're listening to this and you can relate to not feeling the best about your business or about the industry, I've been there. And, to sit there up on stage today, still not number one, still got a long way to go. We're always a work in progress, aren't we? But to be up there today was a big deal to me, because I've always been a person that tries to pour back into people. And then every once in a while, you kind of look back on yourself and you're like, well, wait, what am I getting out of this? And sometimes you don't get the monetary result right away when you pour into relationships. And then all of a sudden you're up on stage in a place that you never thought. Yep. It's the law of attraction. And it's also like the law of giving and the law of value proposition. And so today was a big deal to me, even though it was not number one. But I looked at my friend Cheryl that was up there as number one, and I'm number 5. It was great to see someone that I kind of grew up in the industry with, really just against all odds. And that's what I love about Exit, is that nobody that I know of that I've ever met at Exit was born with a silver spoon in our mouths at all. Like, some people didn't have any spoon in their mouth, plastic or otherwise. And here we are really doing it. And also that we're able to share the value that it's not just about the broker. It's about the agent. And it's not just about the agent that's been there forever. It's about a new agent can turn around and mentor other people. It just feels to me like this is the land of opportunity, as cheesy as that sounds. And today, for me at least, it felt good to be like, okay, I pour into people, people pour into me, and it worked. Right. And it worked.
And you're on stage all the time. I mean, winning awards, but it wasn't always that way.
Not all the time.
It wasn't always that way.
It was not all that way. There was no awards.
What does your business look like now? I mean, and you're in Chicago. Do you have one office, 10 offices? Like, what does your business look like?
So I, as I said earlier, started this 24 years ago as a brand new agent. Was at a big brand, and really realized quickly that big brand gave me a basic framework, but not much else. So I'm like, why am I paying this company so much money? And so I went and I started my own company, and I thought I knew everything. I did not know anywhere near everything. The opposite of that, but we can't use bad language on camera. So I did not know anything. And so it taught me that I'm like, okay, I like systems, I like models, but I also want to be my own person, and I also want to spread that opportunity to other people. So when I found Exit had barely opened in Illinois. This is 2008. I have terrible timing, so if I'm ever going to open up something new and I'm near you, run away, because it's probably about the time the market's going to crash or something bad's going to happen. So I opened up my first office of Exit. I came here as an agent, fell in love. First office of Exit.
So you opened an office. You weren't the broker. You were an agent.
I came as an agent, because I had started my own company, realized that was not the right model I needed a framework and a system. And I didn't have those, and I didn't know everything, and I was tired of reinventing the wheel every day. So I came to Exit as an agent to kick the tires, because I'm like, if I'm going to have people coming over from other companies I've been at or from the small independent that I'd owned, I want to really make sure that this is a stable environment, it's a growing environment, and the opportunity is for everybody, because I don't want to sit there and make it all about me, and I also don't want to sit there and make it all about everybody else, and I'm broke too. Everybody's got to win in this. We got to rising tides lift all boats. And so when I came to Exit, I wanted to kick the tires for 6 months to a year. I fell in love with the system. I made more money here instantly and was more respected, treated well, left alone when I didn't need you, but when I needed you. And the thing was that I didn't have some of the technology that I had here. This company, everybody knows about, that's that company with the residual bonuses and blah, blah, blah. No, it's a technology company. The rest of it's gravy. The technology is what made my money. and started to help my agents start to build the systems that they've never had before. And so we went from one office, which I swore I'd only have one office, to a second office. I'm on the Chicago's north side, and agents were driving in 45 minutes an hour to see me. And so I pulled out a map.
Doing something right.
Something was right. I have no idea why they were coming over, but they really, we had a
food
good
and drinks.
food and drink. It was the drink. It was the drink. Hold on, this is our sponsor.
Right.
Cheers.
Right.
Thank you again. But that was the impetus for me of opening a second office was why are you driving 45 minutes to see me when I probably want to come and see you? And also, who else can we touch around you? And I realized that on Chicago's south side, south of 47th Street, there was not a single franchise. And I'm like, why is that? Why is there not a single franchise south of 47th Street? And so I partnered with another small independent that also was feeling the same struggles. And Zeke Morris and I came together to make a really powerful value proposition for agents. And then now we did it in the southern suburbs. And now we did it for our fourth office in the northern suburbs. So we're all our offices about 30 to 40 minutes apart from each other.
In each quadrant.
In each quadrant. And it is so if you don't know me yet, I'm a quadrant person. So I literally call it Project X, and everything that I do, business planning, database management, value propositions, everything's got a quadrant. Because you figure out, if you put something in an outline, it's so hard to figure what's important, and it gets visually lost. Whereas a quadrant, it's stimulating to say, okay, I'm looking here, but shouldn't I look here, here, here as well? Same way with our business models. I want to be able to say, okay, I'm gonna come to you this day of the week, that day I'm here, and I'm gonna go all around and provide my value to the agents and education to the community, so our agents don't have to reinvent the wheel every day. Because if you're asking people I'm gonna do a home buyer seminar, I'm gonna do a tax appeal seminar, I'm gonna do a health and fitness class, an individual real estate agent isn't going to have the time to be the graphic designer, the Eventbrite planner, the promoter, the logistics person, whip out the credit card to get the venue, pick out the menu. Whereas economies of scale, I was able to do that because I was already doing it for myself in my little database. But strength in numbers, now I have an entire group of people in an office that I'm paying for it because I'm good with that, because we're doing it together. But they're getting the benefit, and I'm also getting a bunch of amazing new people that I've never met before, building that energy up in the room. And so the consumer wins because they've got better educators, they've got better venues to enjoy this at. And especially now that we're, I think, out of COVID, knock on some wood, halfway out of COVID, or whatever you want to call it, people want to be in person, but they also want the option to have a Zoom. We do it all with these events, and the events have been a trademark, a cornerstone of our value proposition, not only to the consumer, but to the agent. Because if my conversation with you is, do you want to buy with me? Do you want to sell with me? Do you have anyone you know that wants to buy?
Then it sounds
That's
really
it. I'm not a car salesman. I like my friends that are car salesmen. They've sold me some good cars, but that's not me. I want to build you a legacy through empowering lives in real estate. That's my tagline, but that's also my passion. I have to show you the way, because most people, we weren't raised to learn about like different types of financing, or how do I flip a property. That's not taught in school. And that's definitely not most people's parents. First generation, second generation, a lot of us as immigrants, they're still not doing it. It's not possible for a lot of people without a lot of education and help. And so that's where we've really, I believe, brought the value proposition so much higher to the table, and much more visible and understandable to the table than other brokerages that are just kind of, do you want to buy with me? Do you want to sell with me? Do you have someone to refer me?
The same. Always no.
And it's also like, why? Why would I want to do that? So,
yeah. So, what is the makeup of the agents? Because you said about the bringing new light, new breath, and I know that from my experience, sometimes that new fiery agent does light a spark in sometimes, and maybe a more seasoned agent that might be feeling in a stale place. So what is the makeup? Would you say, are you more 50-50, like seasoned agents, versus are you constantly bringing in kind of new agents, new energy?
So we bring in a good mix of people always, because I don't want to only be focusing on new agents. However, there is a movement in the industry in terms of the demographics where you have people that have been in the business 25, 35, 40 years. They want to do something different in their family mode. They want to go be closer to the kids. They want to go be closer to better weather, than maybe Chicago, even though it's nice in the summer, it's terrible.
Sometimes it gets a little chilly.
It's, just a tiny bit chilly. Yeah. But what really happens is that I think we're seeing a shift in the industry where people are starting to retire. People are starting to sell their businesses or building teams around them. And I'm coaching a lot of agents on how to build teams and transition, have an exit strategy, haha, pun intended, in the business that they're the people coming up, the people that are newer in the business, and it's not about age as much as it's about the seasoning in the business. If I'm new in the business, no matter what age I am looking to be hopefully part of a mastermind. You don't need to join a team to be part of a mastermind. And that's really what I focus on in our office. I want to keep a mix coming in, not only what's there, but that's coming in of people that have energy. It's not about your time in the business. However, I really like bringing on people that have been in the business 20 or 30 years and they need a new spark because they know how to fill out a contract. I'm not telling you how to turn on a computer or the MLS, but I'm darn well telling you how to re-engage that database versus a new agent. I actually love the new agents because they don't have the bad habits. We don't have to, they're so excited to have a database or have me help them teach about a database. They could care less about, oh, well, I don't want to, have to sit there and CE or things like that. Whatever you hear some other people complaining about, I don't want to sit in open house. They're so delighted to have a database. So you put a good mix together and you kind of have to force everyone to say, what's going wrong? What's going right? Let's celebrate it. And you'll find that a new agent at the end of the day has some of the same issues as an experienced agent that isn't operating at the highest level. And so what we do at our office is we call it stars of exit. When you hit 100,000 gross commission income at our office, you're a star of exit, you cap out for the year. And those agents, we ask them to share and mastermind so that the newer agents and I would almost call them underperforming, even though some agents just don't want to. That real estate's part-time because they love their other job and they love what's going on with their family situation. But there's other people that are like, I hate my job, or yes, I have a family, but I need to support them. And I need to make sure that I'm hitting 6 figures. That's a magical number. It was magical for me to finally hit it consistently when I started to. And that mastermind.
Well, let me just touch on that for a second. And that wasn't like in your first 30 days in the business, right?
No. Right. 30 months.
Because that's a big thing. Agents think like, oh, I'm going to get my license and I'm going to join this company, any company.
And I see
magically.
And I see Nick and Melvin's Instagram, and I see nice cars, and I see nice clothes, and I see nights out, and I think that it's going to be easy. When in reality, that is years of learning the business, building a database, making mistakes, and not always having a roadmap of what you needed to do. And that's what I wanted to take back from people, or give people as a gift / take back out of their struggle, is that the first 10 years in the business, I had one mentor, and she was amazing, but she was retiring. And she was talking to me about, I leave the office because I need to go see people. And I'm like, where's she going? Where's she going? She got her coat on, nice coat, nice car. This is why I got into real estate. Ladies like this, that looked amazing. I want that lifestyle. But what she do is every graduation, every wedding, every baby shower, every funeral, that lady was there, present. I don't want to say she was handing out business cards, but she may have been. But she was visible in her community, and she cared, and she gave a lot back. She volunteered. She was at a soup kitchen. I'm like, man, she's all over. It's
so
like
she wasn't just sitting on her computer,
waiting for the phone to ring, because the phone, you will be waiting for it in a different line, and it will not be the bank line. Right. It will be the unemployment line. Yeah, both. And because I sat there and I watched the agents do that, and I'm like, I don't think that big box company, I don't think even Exit, I don't think any company is going to feed you enough or at all. You have to learn how to do this yourself. But how do you do that? And how you do that is you build relationships. So really what I think I learned from her, that my first mentor in the business, and again, she was retiring, so I don't think she even realized she was a mentor to me, was that you have to be so active in the community. And with every single contact you have, it's almost like you're running for mayor, which is the Brian Buffini program that's out there. But the interesting thing is so many people that say that, oh, I don't want to be a referral based agent, and I'm going to pay for Zillow leads and things like that. I respect Zillow. I respect that operation. There are people that make it profitable. I don't care whether your leads come from land, air, sea, wherever they come from. It is a relationship, whether you paid to meet that person,
Right.
or whether that person ran into you on the street and follows you on Instagram and thinks you're great. Whatever that relationship is, it has to be cultivated, maintained, respected, and retained in order to build your business. So this idea of, I'm going to just do this instead because I don't want to build relationships, or I don't want to put that time in, or that feels awkward to me. If you can't make people, A, like you, B, trust you, and C, realize that you are the best person to help them when they have a real estate need. Because notice I didn't say sell them real estate. That's not the problem. Yeah.
That means I need a painter.
Everything else around it.
Nick, can you come sell me a house, buy me a house? Yes, those phone calls come sometimes, but the more frequent phone calls are I need this, I need that. And you are a servant. You are serving. You're serving your clients.
Exactly. It's servant leadership and it's education. The last two messages in my phone from before I came down here to meet you were both people asking me if I could lease their place instead of selling, because they realize right now they may not get top dollar. They may, but they also, with these interest rates, are realizing they've got a golden ticket with that mortgage from when one of them was my client, the other one was not my client on the way in. And that's something else to remember, is that just because someone didn't use you the first time, I always say I'm on the bench. I'm waiting to be brought up to base. I'm on the bench. That's about as sports as you're going to get me. Right. But seriously though, a little bit, just enough with the marathon, but it's like a leg cramp. You got to just keep running until it gets through. You got to, if you realize that you can be on the bench and not be mean or angry when someone doesn't use you as their realtor, because it's going to happen. And if you sit there and pop off on somebody because they didn't use you as their realtor, you take them off your social media or whatever. I can't tell you the number of times I've not been the first one in, but I'm the one in now. Because, and I got to tell you, and I'm going to stay in for a while because I'm good at what I do, but I had to wait in not my turn, but in line, in the queue, so to speak, because somebody else was a cousin, or somebody else was they sold them their last place, or the boyfriend had used them
20 years ago.
So you got to do, but the thing is that's fine, because if I'm truly providing value, I know I'm next in line. And most of the time I'm not in line anymore, but that's years of in the making. You've just got to realize that you got to just wait, be patient, build the relationships, but it's got to be consistent every day. Every day, when I tell my agents is, you have to have 2 hours of building new business before you speak to any existing business. And so when you're new, that's easy, because there you have there's no existing business. There's no contracts falling apart or appraisals not coming through. So you can have that time, but you just need to figure out what to say to them, which is where my coaching comes in.
They want to quick and kind of, I don't want to say babysit, but do the job of the realtor. And that's the job. And I say the job will happen. You're going to make sure that the roof gets fixed or that the home inspection happens. But if you're not prospecting all the time, then you won't, when you get to settlement, you won't have to, you'll look in the mirror.
That is the last one you'll do.
And then it's like, okay, here we go again. Another 3 months before another deal.
Roller coaster. Right. And that's how I lived the first decade of my real estate business. I'm like, why does anyone like this business? This is terrible. Because what I do is I would pour everything into that one deal, or that 2 deals at a time, that transaction. And it created a relationship. But also, that's not the way you build a business. You have to do both. Now, if I go out there and I prospect all day, they go, oh yeah, I'm on Instagram, I'm posting these things, and I got landing pages and squeeze pages and blah, 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 and SEO, but yet I do a terrible job for you, you're actually back at square one and you've spent money. So you can't prospect and do a terrible job, but you have to prospect and do a wonderful job in order to build a business. Because if I find one person and I do a great job for you, but that's the only person I'm working with, and I'm so focused on that, I'm not building new business. It's all about time blocking. It's all about focus and time blocking, which I struggled with the first decade in the business. And finally, someone said to me, they're like, well, you do a great job and people give you 5-star reviews, but it seems like you're only working with one person at a time. We're like, that's not by design or choice.
That's happening to me.
But that was by my actions.
Right.
It's happening to me because that's how I acted. And that's what I've really just absolutely, I think my agents are so tired of hearing this, but I'm like, it's about time blocking, it's about the miracle morning. And for the part-time agents, it's about carving 30 minutes a day only for new business. But it's with technology the way it is, and with CRMs the way they are. The CRM that I pay for my agents is amazing. And any good CRM, though, that you can just spit out. The one, it is, exactly. It's not the one you buy, it's the one you use, because it's the one you actually implement. That's going to be the one.
Right. And so I know we've covered some.
That's going to be hard for me to pull this. IRS got to go.
Right. Sure. So I know we've covered some ground. And so, I mean, we've got just the framework, though. We see, 10 years of work. And then now we've got 4 offices, we've got staff, we've got a lot of agents. And then we know the statistics that only in terms of nurturing and prospecting, only 1/3, 35% of our business is going to come from people that we've met in the last 90 days or 6 months or something like that. And the other 65, the bulk of the business are people that we've met 6 months in a day or longer.
The long game.
So this is not a hustle, so to speak, as some folks would like to think. Oh, I'm going to get my license and I can, make a quick 100,000 or two. This is not that. And so tell me about I guess if, keep it on the topic, let's talk real. Give me an example or a story, like a real, like a crazy situation or something you had either with a client or with an agent, something that you can share.
Yeah.
Keep the names anonymous if you need to.
I actually throw myself under the bus on this because I don't, I went to law school. I passed the Illinois bar exam, but I don't practice law. I literally at that point had finally figured out the business enough to, make good money in real estate. I'm like, this is fun. I don't want to go start over and be a clerk for, somebody. I as a lawyer, I really love real estate, but it always stuck in the back of my mind though, that I, could have had a different career that was very solid and safe. And so for me, I'm not going to throw a client under the bus and tell a story, even though like it's tempting. There's some really good ones, but I'm going to throw myself under the bus because when I was not following what I preach, so this is, the first decade in the business, I didn't know what to do. Nobody taught me the right way. Nobody coached me the right way. A lot of the people, the brands were too busy not wanting to admit to me that I was going to have to hustle and that it wasn't about the brand to just say, hey, you're going to have to go out and do this. The brand can help you on the back end, but you are the business. You're your own brand. We're our own brands. So I finally kind of figured that out, but I wasn't 100% committed to that. And I hadn't built systems around me. So I had this great opportunity. I was going to be on House Hunters for the first time ever. I'm like, oh my Lord, hallelujah, House Hunters. This is going to save my day. This is going to save my business. Well, first of all, it never saved my business, but it did validate to a lot of people that already knew me that I was good at what I do. But that's not the point of the story. What the point of the story is, I had backed myself into a corner with so many bills, so many things that I wasn't tracking. What is actually bringing business into my business versus what is free? And what can I do to promote the free things and promote the relationships? I didn't realize how valuable relationships were. So the night before I went on House Hunters, and I mean, even this is a 15-year-old story, but the hair is still there. You gotta maintenance this. This is a lot of hairspray and product and such. And the night before I go on House Hunters, I was 2 months, this is 2009. So for those of you that were in this real estate market in 2009, you understand this story is not, it's sadly not uncommon, but we were all behind on our bills, or most of us in the real estate business. We hadn't anticipated, we weren't running our businesses right. And I just didn't respect my database. And so I had run up all these billboards, bus benches, all these different ads, even before digital ads. It was paper, it was magazine ads and things like that. And I wasn't tracking what was actually bringing me business or not. So I'm like so excited. It's the night before this House Hunters thing, and this hair has to be coiffed and maintenance. So I wake up early in the morning to do that, to get myself ready for House Hunters. And that was going to save my business. And what I realized was when I got home that night, my power had been turned off because I had literally been 2 months behind on the business, in the office, and my personal home's bills, my utility bills. And I sat there and I had to go out in the hallway of my condo building to do my hair and get ready for this house hunter that's going to save my business. And I'm like, this is not a business. This is a mess. This is not functioning right, because if I have to come home and there's no power in my own home, and I'm having to make decisions, do I keep the power on in my office so nobody sees, and also, wait, where did all the rest of this money go? Because I know I need power, and I know I need food, and I know I need a roof over my head, and I know my office needs to have their rent paid. But where are my deals coming from? Because I'm not broke in terms of money coming in. I'm broke in terms of money coming in versus out.
Yep.
And what is this? And that was the moment a light bulb went off, even though there was not a light bulb in my home that works. Yeah, a light bulb went off in my head. Then I'm like, exactly. I have to track my deals. So yes, it's about relationships. It's also about figuring out which relationships are working. You know what I found out? Not a single billboard, bus bench, online ad, etc. paid their bill. I mean, not even a break even. There was no return on investment. No return on investment. You know what?
So it's vanity ads.
Vanity ads. Exactly. Yes. That's the first time I've heard someone else say the word vanity. It's vanity.
We think that people are going to, and everyone coming up and saying, man, I saw your ad there. I saw your ad there. And it makes you feel good on the inside, but it doesn't necessarily relate to dollars.
And what I would challenge even with that is, okay, those people, if you did your job right, should already be coming to you for their real estate needs. They saw an extra trigger, but what is that call to action? What is so provocative? Nothing on those billboard and bus bench ads. So your friends are coming to you. Yeah. You know what happened with me is once I started to track that and really listen, my friends were actually just laughing. They're like, you looked extra orange in that one, and then you looked like a pumpkin. And they were making fun of me and the way I dressed that day and, whatever else. And I realized that, like, there's no call to action that you're going to drive past on a highway, or that you're going to flip open a magazine, for the few magazines that people are still actually printing, out in print. Everything's online. But even online, there's so few things that are so provocative that you're going to click through, put your contact information in, get a lead capture. It's vanity. Right. And at the end of the day, unless you are a hermit, no offense to anybody that's antisocial, I get anxiety sometimes, believe it or not. That's why we have some good dark liquor tonight. Right. But for me, it's a relationship business, and you realize how much you throw away on those silly things, those vanity things, thinking that that's going to make you a bigger star because you drive down the street and you think McDonald's, has a ad up. And one of my best friends is high up at McDonald's. They do an amazing job there. But okay, that you're not selling sandwiches. You are the service.
Yeah, we're selling our expertise and our ability to deliver.
That doesn't come across on a billboard or a bus bench or an ad in any way, shape, or form that's going to actually convert someone. This is the relationship. This is we've been friends on social media. This is the night. I mean, obviously put a camera in front of my face. Right. That's a good way to get me here. But it really, for me, this is the night that I'm going to remember until the next time we create value with each other. It's very hard online or in a direct mail piece to do anything more than saturate enough that 1%, if that, 1% of the people you're sending it to are trying to reach is going to take action. And I can't wait like that. And especially with the way that the advertising bills are now.
Yeah, and I think that a part of that is so one piece is the vanity side, but a lot of that is even with experience, and we still can, because ultimately a good media salesperson can sell us.
Yeah,
on it. I mean, because we are also kind of, we are relaying our expertise, and so sometimes I'll say I'm the biggest. I mean, I'm a sucker for. I mean, when people come, I take all those calls.
I name
some of them with the flames coming by. Just like
I've done all. Did you tell me you did not do the grocery carts?
I did.
Oh my God, $2,000. I really would like back. Think of all the nightcaps we could have together.
Yeah, but we're chasing. I mean, really. I mean, we think about that and hoping that, okay, well, that's going to connect to this, and then once they see the direct mail piece, they see me on social, they see the grocery cart, that it'll all make sense, and then they'll take action. But it's really, we're chasing a hot new lead. I mean, that,
And the thing is, like, you had, so the one thing I do agree about that is the multi-channel campaign. We just hit on something. I have no idea how far over we're going, and I don't care. You can cut this up whatever way you want. But the multi-channel campaign is, I think, in all aspects, this was great. If you and I were not connected on social media, I wouldn't feel as connected for the follow-up. And I kind of, now it's like, I want to buy into, like, well, what's Melvin doing next week? And what else is on his podcast? And, like, what's he doing in his social life this weekend? And I'm not, you don't sometimes realize how it is a multi-channel world, that I will meet people here or I will meet people online. And when I meet them in person, that's the rest of the channel. Or when they get that direct mail piece. But a lot of mine is, I have a 5-second interaction with someone. Well, I'm a little old for this example now, but back in the day at the nightclubs, things like that, sometimes still, restaurants, charity events, things like that, that I don't think the 5-second interaction with people is enough sometimes to, and also sometimes it's not the right moment. Remember, we're not trying to get people to buy or sell with us right now, because they're the majority of them.
And also it needs to be congruent too.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm sure you'll see either the social, or you'll see one lens.
Yes.
And then you see a different lens, and it's totally not what that, wait a minute, where are those other glasses?
Well, I'm going to disagree with that slightly, though. I think that most of the people that I've run into, there's like they'll give you one lens, but the other lens is the rest of them. And I've kind of just come to expect that I don't know everything on the way in. Mm-hmm. It's not like it should be that jarring. Sometimes, every once in a while it is. And I kind of brace people with that with me too. It's like, okay, we met for 5 minutes at at the grocery store, and not because of a shopping cart, but in the grocery store. And that's not the full me. You're going to see me out with my friends. You're going to see me with my mom. You're going to see me, gardening. I'm never going to expect that I know all of you through the social media highlight reel. Right. And that 5-second highlight reel. I probably even said some stuff tonight that you're like, oh, I didn't know that. It wouldn't have had it on the podcast.
Right, if it's because of being vulnerable, you're sharing, you're being transparent, and that's different than more, I say, posing.
Well, if you're talking about the special folks that are frauds, that's a whole. We can have a whole podcast on that. Again, social media is a highlight reel. A 5-second interaction out is a highlight reel. I have been scammed just like everybody else. I think at one point or another, has met the wrong person or the wrong email. But I still come into everything with, I am in a open book and a someone of the mindset, not of scarcity, but of abundance, and of the law of attraction. And that is, they are still, and it's even in a declining market, I'm like, okay, not exactly delighted with the market right now. However, I'm coming from an abundance mindset, and I know if I spread good things and I help people, it is going to come back to me, because I've tried being a jerk and it did not work out well. That's not that cute. So nobody wanted to hang out with a jerk, but it really is those mindsets have saved me, along with the Miracle Morning. The Miracle Morning was a big mindset shift for me. I grew up in an environment where my dad was perpetually unemployed and could sleep till noon. Well, did sleep till noon, probably. My mom had to really pick up the pieces and support us. And so I learned so many bad habits as a kid that the Miracle Morning was one of the things that picked me up as an entrepreneur, because what a lot of people do in real estate, it's the first time they haven't had a boss. Yeah. And so they're like, wow, this is my business. But you're still going to open the business up. Right. The business has to open, even if it's virtual and online. You still have to be open. And that is something that just absolutely drives me nuts, is when an agent sleeps till noon. And, well, I had to wake up at 8 every day with my old boss. I'm like, but now you're your boss. And if you go down the street and Walgreens is closed, you will go to CVS. Right. So I'm sorry. Do you want to be Walgreens? Do you want to be CVS? Open up. The business has to be open.
Yeah, and I tell them, I say, well, so now that you're in charge of the good news and the bad news, when you get ready to do your quarterly review, are you getting a good grade? Would you hire you? Yeah. And most of the time they laugh, because they know that they would maybe know themselves. And you need to be, I said, you need to be, if your boss was an asshole, but you were really good at your job, then guess what? You need to be an asshole to yourself. All right, got the quote of the day. Believe me, my journey has not been a simple journey of progress. There have been many ups and downs, and it is the choices that I made at each of those times that have helped shape what I have achieved. Satya Nadella. The question is, or what we know from statistically, is that 95% of people require direct supervision. Okay, only 5% of the people can work unsupervised, fully unsupervised. And so that means majority of agents, I mean, if we're just taking a cross section, they're going to require some oversight, some accountability. And if they're not able to do it, that's where leaders come in, brokers come in, managers come in to help provide that accountability.
Well, exactly. But I think we all have to realize that, like, we all got into this psychologically or, mentally because of not wanting to have those bosses. So I would never personally say to people, this is going to be mandatory unless it's made, mandatory by the state, et cetera. I want people to realize that they have to be their CEO. I can't be their CEO for them because they chose an industry where they're independent contractors. But I can be your business incubator and your business coach. And if that means you need the business coach to come in and be like, it's 8 a.m., where are you at? I'll do it. If you want that business coach to ignore you for 6 months and then come and review the numbers, we can do that too. So I build that kind of, whichever that relationship is with them. But the bottom line is, at the end of the day, and I recently posted something only on TikTok, friends, that, it was a little risque. And it was just, I walked up to this tanning salon where I always go spray tanning. I have a tight schedule. They are good. They're great people that work in there. But there's a tendency with 1 or 2 staff members, they just close it down at a certain time before the posted times to close. And and that's okay to them, because I'm like, no, wait, that's a habit, but have expectations. And what that taught me, though, because I had a TikTok up that was just foul and I got all mad and it was dramatic. And I sat there and I'm like, wait a second, most of these ladies and men that work in there, one of them is actually now my team leader on my personal sales team, one of their former people. What it taught me, though, was you can have any expectation you want, but if it's not expressed, it looks like bad business. So if your expectation of me as your coach, if you're in real estate working with me, and if your expectation of me is that I'm going to just monitor your deals and make sure you don't screw up, that is a whole different animal than, Nick, I want to do what you're doing at 9 in the morning. I want to learn this from you. Yeah. I want to see what CRM you're using.
Right? That's someone coming in after the fact. That's very reactive. And not even, and there's no action item after it other than, okay, don't do that again.
But it's also but in an independent contractor, the danger is that any other business, you open it, everybody leaves you alone, and at the same time, it's yours and you understand it. I think in real estate, there's this natural tendency to say, well, I opened up this business, but I have this company with me and they're going to save me, or they're going to help me, or they're going to, if you don't tell the company what you need, or if the company's not capable of providing what you need, then you have to run the business on your own, which I'd recommend switching brokerages at that point. But if you can't get up and run your business in a manner that the client understands your expectations, if you walk up to your real estate brokerage 10 minutes before it closed and it's closed early and there's no sign up and things are dirty, and you've got to raise your expectations of what your business is going to provide and then articulate them. Because if you're not doing that, why would people refer you? And the less people that refer you, the harder it is for you to wake up in the morning with natural business. I wake up in the morning, and this is not to brag. At this point, it's just to be like, I'm blessed because of being dumb for so long to finally realize what you had to do to create good relationships. I wake up to business. Most of the top agents that work with me, we wake up to business. It may not be always like the highest price point, the most amazing thing, or
but it's an opportunity,
and it's all we can do for an extra relationship.
Is opportunities.
And something that we said earlier, and I'm not sure where it was in the program, but we talked about for a second. You're only going to know this many people, so you're going to work with this many people, or you've got to expand your database. You may have to do both in this changing market, in this changed real estate market. But it's also, there's a tendency to, well, none of these people are going to buy today, or none of these people are talking to me about real estate, so I'm going to go out. that makes me question how far down deep you went with each person, so that all their friends are working with you. And even if none of them want to buy right now, you just know that some morning you're going to flip open your phone or your laptop and there is new business.
An opportunity.
Yeah.
And I think it comes back to standards. And if we don't have standards, or we'll say discipline to, for our speaker, yesterday, if we don't have discipline, AKA standards over our person, meaning sleeping in to whenever you want, figuring out what you're going to do in real time.
Yep.
I think I'll do this now. Okay, now I'll call these people. Oh, I just got an idea. Let me drive to the mall and pass out business cards.
Yep.
Like if you don't have a standard for that, then you're not gonna have a standard for your business.
Yep.
Then it's gonna be hard to really thrive.
Yeah.
Much less, survive.
Survival. And I mean, honestly, like I'm not doing survival anymore. I'm doing thriving only. That is what I coach to, is thriving. If I'm coaching you to surviving, I'm failing as your coach. And I love what you just said, though, about, it's not about going and passing out business cards once 9 o'clock on a Friday night. It's about having a strategy of, this is the time I'm going to pass out business cards. This is what I'm going to do to ensure there's a incentive for them to follow up, or God forbid, I don't just spray and pray, as I call it, which is where you just pass the business cards out. It's physically like
the plane dropping the flyers.
Yes, that is like, I'm like, we are not at war. Why are you dropping flyers? That's what you do when you just sit there and go like this in a mall or like during an event. I watch people all day today. God bless some folks that were just like, oh, or like, I don't even have business cards right now. Get your digital business card out. If you're an exit, have them scan it in and say, text me right now while we're together with your first and last name. Because guess what that does? Now they have your contact information, and now you have theirs. Right. But what you said earlier about, it's not about just the contact, it's about what you do with it. Right. It's if you're not giving feedback, if you're not building follow-up in.
Yeah, if you're just and so the old school way, you go to a conference, you go home with a stack of business cards, and then maybe if you're good, you put a rubber band around it. So you
maybe if you're
and a post-it note of where that stack of business cards came from. And then you look up, and then when you have like 5 or 6 stacks, then you try to figure out, what am I going to do with all this? It's, but it's the exchange of information. It's not just passing out. Like, what are you going to do with it? How do we move this contact into a relationship? Otherwise, it's just a contact.
It's just a yellow business card. Yeah. And it's so funny you say that, because I've been around and coached and worked with some of those people that you walk past their desk and you're like, I didn't realize business cards were brown 5 years ago. No. The color was white back then. It was brown now because it is so old and tired, and it's going to be, it's going to be brittle if you touch it. The problem is that we don't give out enough. We don't go out enough in terms of not social contact and low, but we don't network enough. We don't bring the contact inward, and then we don't follow up. So if you get their information, they get yours, and it's not on those yellow business cards, but you actually just program them in your phone or touch base with them once, you're at that one. It's better than nothing. Yeah. You're at that 1% direct mail response rate that everyone covets and doesn't get.
Yeah, and even sending, so the next step from that, even sending a personal note. Like I've gone to conferences and I've got personal notes from folks, and man, does that leave an impression?
It is. I'm sorry, I remember those people. And you also, the minute that you have anyone that like has to either write your information down, program it in, or that there is a text back, that there's a back and forth.
Well, so you mentioned of course, Exit has the mobile business card, but you can do it if you're Android. You can create a QR code, put yourself as a contact.
Well, the mobile business card works. The mobile business card works on both Android and iPhone. Yeah. So that, but
well, I mean, just other ways.
Oh, the share contact with things like that. Yes.
You want to create a contact. Create yourself as a contact.
Oh, if you're not an exit. Wait, this is for people that aren't an exit.
Right,
no, just kidding. Right.
For everyone.
But for everybody. So if you're not an exit, it's on for Android or iPhone. If you are not an exit, honestly, put their first name, last name, email address, and phone number into your phone. Send them that information, same back to them, so that they've got your first name, last name, email, and phone, and then connect with them on social media. That is it. That is obviously I have a lot more than I could share with you, but if you're not an exit, and even if you're at exit and just don't use the tools that are here, that is such a baseline to me. It's like, if you can get that basic information, you can then go connect with them on LinkedIn, which is the one that I use the most, because most of the time once they connect with you, they have their birthday, they have a different email address, which if you have any decent CRM, you will be able to get the rest of their information once you've got that basic stuff. It'll lead enhance, and that is the
You're giving away the good. You're giving away the good stuff now. We need to save some marketing.
Save some marketing. Oh,
This is
right.
like-
Oh, I got a second
Right, you give away-
episode. The brown liquor didn't get me. We still got 30 seconds. Roll
Hold on. Let's get a
Yes.
refill before.
Oh,
Yeah. This will be the last.
last. Oh, is it? Oh, well, it's gonna give away that.
Okay. Right.
So, but this has been so much fun though, because I mean,
Yeah.
you really let us. Because I was watching earlier when I walked past. So earlier, for those in the audience that are, if we don't edit this out, earlier when I walked past, I saw him interviewing a girl that I know is like a solid producer and has a lot of history. And I'm like, well, they are just going on and on. Because I walked back again because I just wanted to say, hey, I'm just checking in with you. How are you doing? And still going. So thank you for letting me kind of ramble tonight.
No,
But I have so much passion for what I do, and I just like, I see what you're doing with this podcast and what people can get out of a podcast for someone that knows what they're doing, but also isn't asking anything from you. That's not what we get most of the time when we turn on anything, even online anymore, even online.
And you know the lessons that I try to uncover is not necessarily isolated to real estate. I mean, the things you're talking about, miracle morning, getting up early, having a schedule, building relationships. It doesn't matter whether you have a restaurant, beauty salon, nail shop, dog walking business, whatever it is that you want to do. Even as even in the corporate world, that's how you advance your career, doing those same things. So this is really life. I mean, I view that the things that we learn in this business, I view them as I mean, I take it like life skills.
So do I. And that's really fascinating you say that, because a lot of people that I wouldn't say we could coach with, they also coach their agents, but we talk as mentors. And I say, well, I really use that in my personal life. And that, it's about, even with, my mom is older. She's not as frisk and free as she used to be in terms of movement and things like that. I don't get to see her as much as I used to. And so it's like those little touches sometimes, and vice versa. We're like, I'm sorry, I haven't talked to my mom in 2 weeks. And I get a little text from my mom. I'm like, that just touches me. Mm-hmm. What do you think that does to a person that, even if they're not your good friend yet, some of my relationships have been built on at the beginning. Think about this for everybody out there. Who were the people, how did the people that are now in your closest circle, how did they treat you the days and weeks after they first met you? That's the first time I've ever thought of this. Good alcohol. Yeah. But this is an important thing. I'm thinking of like two of my best friends. I would call them my kitchen cabinets. My friends, Kieran and Taylor, are such good people in terms of the way that they help me with my business. Not in terms of a ton of referrals. They both send me business, but the way that they, as my friends, advocate for me. They support me.
They're A+.
I call it the kitchen cabinet, and it's like here are the people that, like, if I was actually important, who would be in my cabinet? And these are two people that just have been very instrumental to, like, you need to sleep more. You talk about charity. When was the last time you did something for that charity? Or can we come with you when you do something for that charity? Just people that are involved in the rest of, like we say, the relationships, the rest of it. It's so important to have those people around you. And for so many years, I did not understand that. And I didn't seek out those people, and didn't respect them when they came into my world. And that's been such a game changer for my business, was having those relationships. But to go back to the point though, those relationships, the first 3 days after I met Kieran, after I met Taylor, and I would just literally Kieran's officiant at his wedding. I was so ready to do that for Taylor. Not that it's a side business. It's just literally like, those are two friends that have just been there for me in every aspect of the world. The next 3 days after we first met, each one of us, this is a decade ago almost for both of them, the follow-up back and forth. How do you meet when you first meet someone? Think about it, like it's even like dating. When you first meet someone, if there's good follow-up the next couple of days, whether you're going to like them or not, whether you're going to get something out of them or not, literally, to be crude, but to be real, you follow up with people that feel something, mentally, but also that's because they followed up with you. There was a relationship built that first couple of days.
It can't be. Otherwise, you feel like you're chasing.
Or
If you have
you're
the
chasing,
message,
or
then
that they
it's
need
stuff.
something real quick as to what it does. Like, I need to get in that house. And or you are like, do you need the house today? Do you need that house today? Do you need that house today? God, I just want to go look at it. I just want to meet you for the first time. I just want to have a coffee. And it's not how you build a business. And so I'm always appreciative to not only people that are amazing in my world, but the people that haven't been. So you're not bitter about it. The people that haven't been, because I'm like, that's how my baseline difference is. How did I get a Kieran or a Taylor in my life as a friend? Or how did you meet your significant other, whoever that person is? How did you meet them? Think about the first couple of days afterwards. What was different versus the person you chased or that chased you?
Yeah,
That's a different podcast.
Hold on,
That may be unsolved mysteries. But that is so. I have never put it out there like that though. I'm like, what is different? It's almost like a psychological study. What's the difference in when you meet someone on the street and you have a good conversation, and those are the people sometimes that end up being so close to you, and other times it's just a person that you meet on the street for 5 seconds. I mean, I met someone in the lobby that seemed real nice earlier. I'm not expecting to see a follow up, and then I follow up back because that follow up was and not that you're looking for anything. It's just when in your every relationship in your life, there's been some sort of pattern of follow up. No one without anything, that they're overly trying to sell you or they're overly trying to do something in any aspect. No one builds a relationship on one contact, on one single interaction. And if you did, God bless you, because I have not met those people that were so compelling, that were not dangerous, that weren't trying to sell me or murder me, hurt me.
One extreme.
Yeah,
we've got to do. I've got like 8 different topics that I've counted that we can talk. That we can do a whole.
Can we get a series?
Right, we can do a whole series on like 8 different topics. But if someone wanted to learn more about one of your 4 offices in the 4 quadrants, if they wanted to, be a producing agent, a top producing agent, and we're both in coaching, different coaching, but we both understand the value of hiring coaches, paying for coaching. Coaching is not necessarily always free. You that too, but actually we invest in ourselves. Okay.
Yeah.
And if someone wanted to come to that type of environment where you pour into your agents, where you encourage them to be the best of them, best versions of themselves, you can help that part-time or full-time agent get to whatever it is that they want to get to. They're going to have to do what is required, but you will be able to help them find that. Or if I just want to sell it. I live in Chicago vicinity, Chicago Metro. I live in one of the 4 quadrants, or maybe even a little bit outside, and I have a house, and I feel like you might be a good fit to find a buyer for that house, and vice versa. I want to buy a house in that area. How would we reach you? I know that was like a long setup, but how would we actually get in touch with you?
So first of all,
what's the best?
Ways? There's the best way is just to text my to get my digital business card, which has all my contact information. You can download it to your phone. It also has links to all my social media, because I am always trying to educate, learn from you all as well. Sometimes I've had some ideas that were not right or not clarified well, and we're like, I have a good audience of people that help me articulate the best things about real estate. And so all social media, it's at Nick Libert. That is at NICK LIB as in boy ERT. But then as far as my digital business card, if you guys want to text me, if you call me, so speaking of setting expectations, if you call me, I will not pick up. I will absolutely not pick up unless we've already hung out and I got you programmed in, just schedule wise. But I will absolutely on social media interact with you until we can get to a point where we figure out that I will be of value to you and we're not burning up each other's time. On social media, at Nick Libert everywhere.
Show your value.
Absolutely.
There's lots of options. They can do something, but you're going to show your value.
So I'm going to show you my value. And if you are in the Chicagoland area and you're a realtor, we are absolutely, definitely hiring talent, because what I'm seeing right now is a lot of negativity in the market from realtors that are just not having conversations like these. And so we can have conversations like like this with you. We would love to do it. We have the bandwidth to do it. And that one is just my digital business card. It is text Libert, L-I-B as in boy, E-R-T, to 85377.
Okay, so the text message, I would say everyone should do that first. Quickly send a text message to 85377.
Yep.
Libert, Libert, or at Nick Libert.
Yep.
On all the social media.
Did I
Instagram, TikTok.
all of it.
Okay. And you're on YouTube too, right?
Yeah, so YouTube is the big one, because that's where the value proposition of, I'm going to try to share the most on YouTube, because there's not, you got to hold it horizontal or vertical. And I do a lot on Zoom, because I'm big into, if I missed anybody, I just want to like get you that information. And I have a lot of both full-time and part-time agents. So YouTube is definitely the place for the quickest information value proposition. And that is just to go subscribe on my YouTube channel when you do the text code.
That's the stuff. Well, I tell you, I appreciate it, man.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Thank you
good.
so
This is
much.
good
Appreciate
hanging out
this.
with you at the
Yes.
beach.
Absolutely.
Drinking a little bit. All right. We're out.
Yeah.